Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming. I'm bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out After Wave Downfall. After Wave Downfall is developed by Seven Raven Studios, published by Total Console, and released on August 3rd, 2022 for a price of $14.99. So, what is After Wave Downfall? After Wave Downfall, I've said this title so many times already in this video. It's a shoot 'em up. But it's a shoot 'em up that you can play single player or co-op. Unfortunately, there's no online mode. There is arcade practice and extra mode, but you're mainly going to be playing the story when it comes to the context of playing the game. And what we're going to do is go ahead and just dive into a brand new game here. We'll show you kind of the start of the game, and I'll talk about my thoughts. There's 3 different difficulties that will progressively be unlocked as you play the game more and more, as well as different characters that you can eventually unlock and play and organize with. So as you can see here, the game does start off with a simple tutorial that you can learn the game. It's very basic controls. You'll be able to pick up little collectibles that'll allow you to build up battery powered energy to shoot and fire your weapons, as well as you have this kind of super weapon. And everything you do kind of unlocks these scores. You're kind of on a mission to collect the most points and go through and beat bosses to kind of retain like safety in your world. You can do a couple mechanics in the game, but honestly, like the few that I'm going to kind of talk about here for just a brief moment, such as slowing down or accelerating your speed, I went through basically the entire game and I never even felt a need to use any of them. So honestly, it's kind of a mechanic that doesn't really seem like it's needed more than anything. The game functions just like a pretty normal shmup. Instead of being top down, it's kind of coming at you from the water. Occasional things will come from behind you, and then sometimes things will come from the side or just randomly spawned all throughout. These are those little batteries I was talking about. If you look at that little wheel on the left side, you can see where you can collect and fill up your kind of energy meter, and that's going to allow you to use special weapons. As you can see here, we'll fight a little torpedo. We'll also end up getting access to things like rockets and various other weapons all throughout. And those use the battery. As you can see, it's got a little 3 onto the bottom side of your screen over there, and that just kind of indicates which you know item those need. The little missile, which is your right bumper, is one that kind of charges more over time versus the torpedo that you can kind of just use and go with. And then you're also going to have this sort of superpower ability that just kind of barrages and shoots everything. Now, each character will have a little bit of a different tool set when it comes to those items and weapons they do, but the main character is probably one of the better ones that, personally that I felt with in the game. You can tell your kind of super ability by the little. It's really hard to see, but under the little SP bar on the top left of your screen, I literally started pointing at it as I'm recording this video, so I feel kind of stupid. But, yeah. That's pretty much the simplistics when it comes to the weapons and effects in the game. The game does have a little bit of cutscene animations, but for the most part, you're just going to be playing through the levels. Some of them, for me, seem very grindy, and a lot of the enemies in the game don't really do a lot for me in terms of a variety of way they interact with. A lot of them just seem like very little reskins of other enemies, and then there's occasional little cutscenes that, like here, you can see. I don't really know why I'm having to go through like a giant cave tunnel system without really interacting with any enemies. It seems like there could have been something there more I could have done. But the game's basically broken down into these staged form versions of the game. You'll basically do a couple stages, then you'll get to a boss fight. Now, for me, the best part of the game is actually the boss fights. I do enjoy them, but as you get into later boss fights in the game, they do seem very repetitive and grindy, and you're going to experience a lot of enemies. As you can see here, we have these like little piranha fish guys that don't really do anything. They're just there and exist versus me having to really worrying about being attacked. I don't even think I really died in this game until I think the first time I died or really took a lot of damage was right near the very end on the final boss. And even that isn't something that's too overly difficult to deal with. Achievement wise for the game, it's super simplistic. Nothing's too hard. You'll just have to kind of collect upgrade points. I think the final achievement that I had to do or have to do, depends when this video comes out, is just unlocking a new character. And you do that by just kind of collecting upgrade points throughout the game. You can upgrade your abilities and stuff throughout the game with various upgrades, so you're not just kind of stuck with a one and done approach in the game. But for the most part, though, it's going to be very repetitive and grindy. And, I know a lot of shmups are necessarily repetitive and grindy. That's kind of the nature of a shmup. But for me, it seems like this game had a lot going for it, but there's just a little bit of a miss in the package of what's presented here in the game. I oftentimes just find myself rather kind of bored and stagnant rather than wondering what's around the corner and guessing what could be next in terms of that. But, visually, though, I think the game does a really good job. I like the aesthetics, but it feels very Nintendo 64 esque. Maybe it's a couple generations behind what this game really should be delivering versus like what I'm really playing. And, it's not anything that's really giving me like crazy variety in the content here. And I love smups, and I've played a lot of smups here on the channel, and I know I've reviewed a lot of them. Overall, as far as giving this game like a buy sale pass kind of opinion, I would probably more wait for a sale or pass. I think there's honestly just a lot better shmups out there, even though this game only comes in at a $15 price point. $15 is a little bit of a pricey penny when it comes to a lot of the other shmups we have and options out on the platform. So for me, I definitely think Afterwave Downfall is a little bit of a miss. Maybe you'll have a differing opinion, or if you've played the game already, I'd love to hear what you think down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. I hope I'll catch you next time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you next time.